All right, good morning. Day 3 of the NFL draft. It's going to be another busy one for the 49ers. It wasn't busy until the very end of day 2. Then that flurry, 3 picks. They traded up, so it gave us a little bit of a gap between Jair Brown and then Jake Moody and Cameron Latu. But now it's going to be 6 picks on day 3 as the 49ers will then turn to rounding out the rookie portion of their roster with undrafted free agents. So you can expect 6 draftees to be added today. Trades are always possible. So maybe 5, maybe 7, who knows? But you could expect about 6 draftees to be added today. And then the 49ers will not be done. They will turn to undrafted free agency. Today, I'm going to talk about some of the potential concerns with this 49ers draft class, starting with the 3 picks last night. What is there to maybe worry about from a talent standpoint, maybe from a positional value standpoint? What are some of the risks that the 49ers took? And then we'll talk about concerns heading into day 3 because there's 6 picks left. I am right next door to Levi's Stadium, so I'm going to hop right over there as soon as we're finished here, and I'm going to be monitoring the draft from right by the 49ers war room, and then we're going to talk to John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan after. That focus on undrafted free agents this evening is going to be a fascinating one, as it always is. Up on the screen is the article from last night. 49ers were in consensus on Jair Brown from coaching to scouting staffs, and they say that Jake Moody was a necessary pick. As far as Cameron Latu, well, they're trying to pair a tight end with George Kittle. We have plenty of content up on the page, but first, why don't we take a look at what John Lynch said and Kyle Shanahan said to Jake Moody when the 49ers picked him. And the 49ers concerned with Jake Moody, it's on the screen. He's a kicker. I'm going to get through that here in a little bit. But first, why don't we put the positive for Jake Moody, a smart and necessary pick. This is obviously what the 49ers think, and let's see what they said to Jake Moody after selection number 99.
How's it going?
Good. It's John Lynch from the San Francisco 49ers, buddy. You ready to be a Niner?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You made a great impression on all of us, and we're excited to have you on the team. Coach Snyder's over here. I'm going to put you on with Coach Shanahan, but congratulations. Can't wait to meet you, buddy.
Thank you so much.
All right, buddy.
Jake, congrats, man.
Thank you very much.
Hey, man, you got to know how high we think of you, man. We didn't take a running back. We spent a third-round pick on a kicker, so that shows you how we feel about you, dude.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
Hey, but I'm glad to hear how much battle-tested you are, which Snyder did you down there. He keeps telling us about, man. So we've heard enough from him now. He can stop. We're pumped to get you here, dude.
All right, remember those words, battle-tested. That's what the 49ers think of Jake Moody, and that was important to them to know that he's been battle-tested because they're trying to project whether or not he can become the same kicker at the NFL level that he was at the college level, and that was a really, really good kicker. And I'm going to talk about that and the concerns here in a little bit, but remember, battle-tested as we go through some of the potential drawbacks of the 49ers' first 3 picks. All right, why don't we start with Jair Brown? He's up on the screen there, safety out of Penn State. The one concern with him is a potential lack of speed. A 4.65 40 at the NFL Combine. It's not fast, but guess who else didn't have a very fast 40 time coming out of college? An all-pro safety in his second year for the 49ers, Talanoa Hufanga. So I think the reason that Jair Brown, with 10 interceptions, with great instincts near the box, right? He's a versatile safety. The 49ers are looking for interchangeability out of their safety. So you could play either the single high or you could play near the box and you could switch back and forth. And if you can be that adaptable of a safety, it gives the defensive coordinator, Steve Wilks, so much more leeway with what he can call because opposing offenses don't know which safety is going to be where. When you look at the skill set and the production in college in a big school for Jair Brown, playing with Jaquan Brisker, who he played community college ball with, you look at all that and you say, whoa, how is this guy still on the board late in the 3rd round? I think the 49ers were mildly surprised that he was still on the board where he was, number 87. They were willing to trade up from the very late 3rd round at the back of the compensatory selection pool there. They were willing to trade up for him, but he was still available a little bit later than you might expect. And I would say that the 40 time is probably the biggest reason at 4.65. So the 49ers, here's their answer to that concern. We asked John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan about it yesterday, and they said that their R&D department, research and development department, has studied Jair Brown beyond just the raw 40 time. They like his 10-yard burst, which is 1.52, which is a lot faster than you'd expect from somebody with a 4.65. And B, I mean, they have other ways to measure speed, including a chip in the pads and, the GPS information they get from the colleges. They also measure speed by watching tape and watching how fast Jair Brown is moving relative to other players. Does he get a quicker first step than other players? Do his anticipatory skills combine well with that first step? And if they do, that could potentially turn a 4.6 guy into a 4.4 guy, right? A 4.6 guy who gets a good anticipatory first step is going to play as fast as a 4.4 or 4.5 guy, whereas a 4.3 guy who doesn't get a good anticipatory first step, who doesn't know what he's doing out there, might play like a 4.6 or a 4.7 guy. The 49ers believe that Jair Brown is closer to a 4.4 guy than he is a 4.6 guy, which is their way of answering one of these concerns. Now, they didn't use a first-round pick on him. They didn't use a second-round pick on him. The 49ers would even say that they didn't use a third-round pick on him because the 49ers look at picks a little bit differently. They treat their third-round compensatory picks as fourth-rounders because you just do the math. 32 teams, so it's 32, 64, 96. Anything outside of 96, moving onward, wouldn't really be in the top 3 rounds. Now, the 49ers traded into the standard top 3 rounds because they picked Jair Brown at number 87. But when we move to the next pick, Jake Moody at number 99, the 49ers treat that as an early 4th-round pick, not as a late 3rd-round pick. That's what they were saying yesterday. They also pointed out that they technically don't have any 4th-round picks, which is why they decided to pick up Jake Moody. And the concern here is obvious. He is a kicker. And there's a lot of debate about drafting kickers. And there's a lot of debate about drafting kickers as high as the 3rd round. The last time a kicker was drafted this high, 2016, Robert Arguello, didn't really work out. He didn't live up to the crazy expectations that people had for him at the NFL level. So the question is, as we attempt to get Jake Moody here up on the screen, why don't we find a nice little picture of Jake Moody so we're not looking at Jair Brown. I had an article on Jake Moody last night. Shouldn't be hard to find. There it is. Boom. There you go. Jake Moody, Michigan kicker. Is he good enough, and will he be good enough at the NFL level to temper the concerns of the 49ers using the 3rd-round pick on a kicker? I've done a lot of reading and a lot of research about the analytics behind drafting a kicker in the 3rd round. And essentially the consensus is if you could find a Justin Tucker or somebody that's really, really good, and Justin Tucker is an obvious outlier beyond even other good kickers. If you could find somebody as good as Justin Tucker, though, it's worth using a 1st-round pick on him. The problem is that it's hard to find somebody who moves the needle that much. That being said, Jake Moody has an incredible profile coming out of college, and the 49ers have done a lot of research on this pick, and you combine that with the fact that they have a glaring need at the kicker position. Moody, under 49 yards over the last 2 seasons. This is the most important job of an NFL kicker. 97% make rate, 164 out of 168 kicks made. He was perfect on extra points in college, and he was booting multiple 50-plus yard field goals, including a 59-yarder as a college kicker. That is all impressive, and I get it. Some people are saying, well, Justin Tucker was an undrafted free agent. Well, okay, great. Go find me Justin Tucker as an undrafted free agent this year. Is Justin Tucker available this year in this 2023 draft or no? He's not. So Justin Tucker is an exception to undrafted free agents. You generally go after the kicker who shows you the most promising signs that he can port his skill set to the NFL level. And that this year has very obviously been Jake Moody. Casual people have thought this. Experts have thought this. And obviously, Brian Schneider, 49ers special teams coach, who is an expert, has thought this. He has worked extensively with Jake Moody. And you heard the 49ers say, let's go play this video again. You heard the 49ers talk about the fact that Jake Moody is battle tested. Listen to this again from John Lynch.
How's it going?
Good. It's John Lynch from the San Francisco 49ers, buddy. You ready to be a Niner?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You made a great impression on all of us, and we're excited to have you on the team. Coach Snyder's over here. I'm going to put you on with Coach Shanahan, but congratulations. Can't wait to meet you, buddy.
Thank you so much.
All right, buddy.
Jake, congrats, man.
Thank you very much.
Hey man,
Really excited.
you gotta know how high we think of you, man. We didn't take a running back. We spent a third round pick on a kicker, so that shows you how we
Yeah.
feel about you, dude.
Oh yeah. Let's
Hey,
go.
I'm glad to hear how much battle tested you are. What Schneider did to you down there, he keeps telling us about, man. So we've heard enough from him now. He can stop. We're pumped to get you here, dude.
All right, talking about a battle-tested kicker. The 49ers saw that Jake Moody entered Michigan not as their top kicking recruit. Jim Harbaugh obviously was the coach there, and he ultimately won the battle against a very highly touted recruit at the University of Michigan. That's where the battle-tested moniker comes from. Quinn Norton was the name of the kicker at Michigan, whom Jake Moody beat out over the past few years there under Jim Harbaugh. And obviously, some of the psychological warfare that Jim Harbaugh probably imprinted on that kicker battle. You know, Jim Harbaugh is good at pitting some players against each other to try to get the competitive best out of absolutely everybody. Well, he got the competitive best out of Jake Moody. Again, those numbers are awesome. Those numbers, I mean, those are Justin Tucker type numbers, maybe even better coming out of college. The question is his mentality in a position to port that to the NFL level? If the answer is yes, the 49ers won't regret this pick. With the kicker position, if you can get the upside of somebody like Justin Tucker, if he reaches that, then he would have been worth a first-round pick. Nobody's expecting Jake Moody to be Justin Tucker. But the 49ers do want a plus kicker because they've had a plus kicker in Robbie Gould over the past several seasons. The thing is that Robbie Gould was a declining stock. Wrong side of 40 years old, starting to slip a bit, especially in terms of kickoff production. The touchback rate ranked number 28 in the league. And he was too expensive for the 49ers team that is up against the salary cap. So here's Jake Moody's contract. Why don't you take a look at this? I have some numbers for you that I think might help you appreciate what the 49ers are doing here from a financial perspective. I just put this up on Twitter. So let me toss it onto the screen for you right there. All right. Jake Moody's rookie contract with the 49ers. 4 years, $5.4 million total. That's only $1.4 million per year under the rookie wage scale. A $903,000 signing bonus and a $976,000 2023 salary cap hit. Again, $976,000 on the salary cap hit for Jake Moody this season. That is minuscule, especially considering the fact that Robbie Gould was at about $4 million per year. And if you re-sign Robbie Gould, you're probably going to have to pay that, or at least, I think, $3 million per year. But then it became a matter of the 49ers making the calculation in their head. Do we want a declining kicker at a more expensive cost, or do we want a rising kicker who has a chance to be just as good as Robbie Gould based on the talent coming out of college? Do we want a rising kicker on a lower cost? And every dollar matters. So they ended up using that third-round pick on Jake Moody. Now, everybody's saying, well, you know, why didn't they wait till the fourth round? Why didn't they wait till the fifth round? Well, he wasn't going to be around in the fifth round, and the 49ers don't have a fourth-round pick. The draft starts here or restarts here in about 11 minutes, and the 49ers aren't going to pick in the fourth round unless they trade up into it. So they had a very late third-round pick, and they decided to use that one on this guy right here, Jake Moody, the kicker out of Michigan with a really strong leg. From a business perspective, it makes a whole lot of sense. Ultimately, the success or failure of this pick, pun intended, is going to come down to how well Jake Moody performs at the NFL level. Can he translate that success in college under the bright lights of the NFL? And that's why the 49ers did their research and determined that he has the mentality to be able to translate his skill set to the professional level. Again, experts have looked into this a lot more than the casual fan. Experts know about this a lot more than the casual fan. And the experts in this case who are making this pick, and that starts with Brian Schneider, of seasoned NFL special teams coordinator. It's awfully arrogant of fans who are sitting at home in a basement to think that they know more than somebody who's been coaching special teams for decades. And that's the case with Brian Schneider. Those experts think that Jake Moody was worth the pick for the 49ers. Again, he was really the only starter at the only starting position that the 49ers needed to fill entering this NFL draft. So when you have a strong roster, when you've taken care of your other needs through years of building, free agency, other drafts, and you have a lot of picks through the compensatory formula, you can afford to take one that's maybe a little bit higher than usual on the kicker position. Because I'll tell you what, everybody hates picking a kicker up high until they actually need that kicker to win a football game. Until that kicker turns into Jose Cortez at crunch time. Then you say, oh, damn, I wish I would have picked Jake Moody. So the 49ers are trying to avoid that by picking the best kicker possible. Does that guarantee success? No, but it maximizes the chances of attaining it. All right, let's move on to Cameron Latu. What's the concern with him? We'll take a look at this right here with Cameron Latu. He's not an elite athlete. This is a tight end that the 49ers picked at number 101. On the x-axis, you have avoided tackle. So you want to be further to the right. That's basically yak ability. And on the y-axis, you have somebody's 10-yard split. What's their burst? So the speed and elusivity threshold. This is from Kevin Cole, who puts up great stuff on social media. Good football analytics guy. As you can see, Sam Laporta, one of the first tight ends to go, far right. We've got, really, really established pros here. George Kittle, far right, up and to the right. And Cameron Latu, unfortunately for the 49ers, is down and to the left. This is where you don't want to be. That's where Cameron Latu's at right here. So immediately people are going to say, oh, no, 4.840 doesn't really have the tackle breaking resume that a lot of these good tight ends in the upper right have. What are the 49ers doing? It looked like a lot of the mock drafts had Latu lasting until about the 5th round, but the 49ers used a low 3rd round pick on him. And, it is a concern. Is he an overdraft relative to his projection? Because you could see some of the metrics on the ball off to the side right here do not look that favorably on Cameron Latu. Here's what the 49ers believe, and we'll let time decide if they're right or not. Latu entered Alabama as an edge rusher. He was a pass rusher, outside linebacker, defensive end. He made a positional conversion before the 2019 season. The 49ers believe that he's still relatively raw at the tight end position and that he was on a very significant upswing to close the 2022 season. And it's not like he didn't have success at tight end before. We saw Cameron Latu catch 8 touchdowns, an Alabama program record for a tight end in 2021. But the 49ers believe he's just scratching the surface of his tight end abilities. So you see something like this, they think he's actually going to start moving faster and breaking more tackles as he becomes further acclimated to the tight end position. What they really like at this moment is Cameron Latu's playbook knowledge. They think in chopping it up with him, he is extremely, extremely adept at understanding the big picture of an offense, which is really important, especially at a tight end position that is going to be asked to deliver complicated run blocks and play within the run blocking scheme and also go out for pass patterns. You're at the intersection of everything at tight end. When we talk about positionless skill positions, tight end is the epicenter of that. So you better know the playbook. You better be a student of the game. And the 49ers verified that. Kyle Shanahan talked to Steve Sarkisian, Texas's coach, who used to be Alabama's offensive coordinator, when Latu transitioned from defense to that tight end position. And the 49ers love that bit of intel that they got on Cameron Latu. Then it's a physical projection. And this is where people are saying that it might have been an overdraft because he's down here, right? He's at a spot where the 49ers, are making a gamble. They're hoping that he moves further up and to the right. But they think, based on the trajectory of Latu's development at tight end and the fact that he's still relatively raw, they think they're buying a stock low, and that stock is going to rise, and it's going to become more and more valuable. Again, same idea as Jake Moody. If the 49ers think that some other team would have beaten them to the punch, would have thought this about Cameron Latu since there was a big run on tight ends earlier in the draft, somebody could have taken him in the 4th round. And the 49ers don't have a 4th round pick. So they picked him with their last selection of the 3rd round. There are still a lot of players available, and I get it. A lot of people are antsy because they think that the 49ers should have used their final pick or their final picks, including the Jake Moody pick, on other players because you still have guys like Blake Freeland on the board, Calais Ringo on the board, Adebawore from Northwestern, who a lot of people thought would go earlier, especially in the media, but he's fallen down. There is Blake Freeland. Corey Trice, the corner out of Purdue. Hell, even Jake Hayner is there. Braden Daniels, one of my favorite players in this draft from Utah, is still there. Maybe all these guys going round 4. maybe they don't. But there are a lot of good players still available. You can take a look at this article here as we're 4 minutes away from the start of round 4. You could look at the best remaining article. It's in the description, and I've also now copied and pasted it into the chat section. So the 49ers ultimately opted to go for Cameron Latu because they liked him more than some of the other players that are available. And I'll also add that the 49ers believe in Colton McKivitz, who had a very good small sample in pass protection this past year. They believe a lot more in Colton McKivitz than I think the outside public does. I think that's obvious at this point. Does that preclude them from taking a tackle here on day 3? No. They probably should. They need to bolster the depth of that offensive line. But again, the draft is a shotgun approach. You're only going to go really specific in situations where you need to fill a kicker position or a specialist position, because that really isn't related to anything else. But you're still getting value out of it, right? Especially if that kicker is good. So they got specific with Jake Moody. I don't think they were overly specific with the safety Jair Brown, who they believed was the best player on the board at 87. And Cameron Latu, a player who they think has tremendous upside, and the draft is about upside, especially at the standard positions. Expect them to carry that same philosophy here into day 3 with the pool of players that is available. The 49ers traded away 2 of their picks on 2 of their day 3 picks yesterday, so they have 6 remaining today before they move into undrafted. The 90-man depth chart. Open that sucker up. And then we're going to get running with the draft round 3 starting. Let's get this up on the screen for you. There you go. There you have it. The 49ers 2023 depth chart. Highlighted in yellow or gold, you have the rookies: Cameron Latu, tight end; Jair Brown at safety; Jake Moody at kicker. Where do the 49ers still need to bolster this roster? Well, I think offensive line. You want to add more competition, more depth. People are talking about an edge rusher. You might have a tough time finding somebody that's a true impact edge rusher at this point of the draft, but you can try. You can try to toss in some more competition. You can also use some of the cap space that you opened up with Christian McCaffrey's restructure to sign another edge rusher, or perhaps they trust guys like Cleveland Farrell or Austin Bryant. Maybe they think that they're going to be good rotational pieces behind an improved Drake Jackson. We'll just have to see how it plays out. These are all theories that we've tossed out there regarding the 49ers' thought process. Looks like the Eagles have traded up. 3rd pick in round 4 today, number 105. That is courtesy of Mike. Thank you, Mike. So this is just your overarching look at what the 49ers might do. As you can tell, it's fairly stacked. And if it's fairly stacked, then you could go best player available. If you have a specific need for a 4th quarterback, you may do it with a very low pick or an undrafted free agency. Both are going to be at play today. If you need this spreadsheet, I'm going to copy and paste this and put it into the chat section so you could check it out. There you go. Mike keeps on saying stuff. The Eagles traded a future 3rd round pick. Okay, they traded a future 3rd to move up today. So the Eagles must really like somebody. So anyway, by the end of today, we'll have all the draftees in place for all the teams in the NFL. And then undrafted free agency is going to be rolling, and we'll have a good look at least something close to the 49ers 90-man roster by early this week. Rookie minicamp 2 weeks from now. I get married on May 6th. That's crazy. I scheduled my wedding so it wouldn't hit the draft or rookie minicamp. Got to show some dedication on that front. And then we'll have a good idea of what the 49ers are going to be. We're going to get to see some of the rotations, some of the pecking order at OTAs, not all of it. And we'll get excited for training camp at the end of summer. The draft is a crapshoot. You never know how these players will perform on the teams they're drafted to. Yes, that is true. Sean Clapper wants the Super Bowl 54 rematch. Anders thinks that Hargrave will help a lot. Yes, he will. He's going to make guys better. He's going to make guys like Cleveland Farrell, like Austin Bryant better, like Drake Jackson better. Javon Hargrave did that for the Eagles. You can expect him to do that for the 49ers, which means that edge isn't as pressing as a lot of people were making it out to be. It'd be nice to continue adding as much depth as possible there, but the 49ers already have a very, very talented defensive line. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Anytime you lose some of the scouting department, it is a concern. But I think that the 49ers have a good pipeline going, not only player-wise, talent-wise, but in the coaching rooms and in the front office. They're always working on elevating lower-level employees to take higher-level positions when people inevitably do get promoted. Gregory thinks the 49ers need a McGlinchey replacement. Well, we'll see. If they grab one later in this draft, maybe they really like somebody they think they can develop, and McKivitz can be kind of a stopgap for a year. Maybe they still sign somebody. Maybe McKivitz is that. Maybe McKivitz, at long last, has developed into something that the 49ers really like at right tackle. I just chart this as it goes, right? And I've been advocating for better pass protection for the 49ers for a long time. I was probably the first one saying they needed to improve in that regard. I was saying it a lot in 2019 when nobody else was saying it. Everybody was just busy blaming Jimmy Garoppolo for everything. The 49ers have needed to take steps forward in pass protection. They have taken steps forward. They still need to take some more. And we'll see how exactly they architect that plan here moving forward. Yes, Jake Moody is better than Zane Gonzalez. The 49ers are betting heavily on that right now. I think that Jake Moody will be the second all-time leading 49ers scorer if he plays 10 years. It's a bold statement. We'll see if that is true. All right. We've been going about half an hour. I am going to hop into the 49ers facility right now, right next door, to observe the start of this draft. So we're going to have a lot for you today. 6 picks, a lot of instant reactions, a lot of analysis, and then a big show, 2 or 3 to close the day. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the button to set yourself up for some alerts. And of course, subscribe to The Athletic when you do get a chance. Everybody take care. We'll see you very, very soon. Enjoy day 3, the final day of the 2023 NFL Draft.